Hey, what's up everyone? So today we're going to be talking about one of SwiftUI core feature called the environment. So if you already have some experience with SwiftUI, well, there is a very good chance that you've already had to deal with the environment because it's basically what we could say SwiftUI mechanism to inject dependencies from a parent view to a child view. And in this video, well, I would like to speak more specifically of how should we use this environment because, well, when you start to take a closer look at it, you notice very quickly that there is actually two ways to use the environment. You can use basically one of two property wrappers. You have either at environment object or at environment. So for this video, well, I want to discuss what each of these property wrappers do, what is their behavior, what is the advantage, what are the drawbacks of using one over the other. And basically, my goal is to give you some guidelines on which approach should you use depending on the kind of project that you are working on. So that's enough for the introduction. Let's get started. So as you can see behind me, there is some code. So we have implemented a very simple app in SwiftUI. As you can see, it's an app that uses a tab view for its navigation. And then inside the tab view, well, we have three features. So I've called them feature 1, feature 2, and feature 3. I went for something that is as simple as possible. I'm going to show you what is inside each of the features. So you can see it's just a view with a text that displays, well, the name of the feature. So as you can see, it's a very simple architecture, but it's still complex enough that we can try and use the environment, well, in order to pass data from the tab view to its child views. So what kind of data, what kind of model would we want to pass in between the tab views and the feature views? Well, the example I've chosen is to actually implement some analytics. So as you can see, I've implemented a class. I've called it analytics. So it inherits from observable object. And inside it, well, there is just one single method. And it's a method to send a tag, well, to analytics backend. Of course, everything is mocked. So it's just a print to the console in order to keep things, well, as simple as possible. And so now my goal is going to be, well, to use the environment in order to make, well, each of my feature views be able to get the analytics class and use it in order to send tags to the analytics backend. So to begin, I'm going to implement this using at environment object. So how should I go about it? Well, first I'm going to go into feature 1 view. I'm going to write the code in order to retrieve the dependency. So as you can see, retrieving the dependency is quite easy. I just need to declare a property analytics, which is typed with the type analytics. And then I annotate this property with the property wrapper at environment object. And basically, well, SwiftUI will take care at runtime to retrieve the instance from the environment and put it in this property. And so, well, now that I have done this, well, I can use the analytics in my code. So for instance, I can add this code, well, in order to send analytics tag whenever the view is displayed. Okay, so I've done half the job. I've done the part where I'm retrieving the analytics. Now, of course, I must also implement the other part of the job, which is to actually, well, inject a value inside the environment. So in order to do this, well, I'm going to go back to my tab view. And so I'm going to inject the value at the level of my tab view. So in order to do this, well, I'm going to use the modifier environment object. So like this, and I'm going to instantiate and inject an instance of analytics. And that's all. Now I can run my app and we're going to see in the console that indeed analytics is accessed by the feature 1 view and I have the print in the console. So let me run the app so that we can check that indeed it works all as expected. So as you can see, it's all working as expected. So my app is running here in the simulator and we can see, well, in the console that indeed the message is printed. So it means that the instance of analytics has indeed been injected inside the environment and then retrieved by the view feature 1 view. And this illustrates, well, what is the great advantage of using at environment object. It's how easy it is to use. We just need to inject a value inside the environment using the modifier environment object. Then we can retrieve the value using at environment object. And that's it. We don't need to write any other boilerplate code. But of course, as you can imagine, well, this simplicity comes with a drawback. And in order to illustrate this drawback, well, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to close the simulator like this. And now I'm going to try and display my view inside a preview. And we're going to see, well, what is going to happen. So as you can see, my preview encountered an error. And in order to understand, well, what this error is, well, I can just first read the text here, and it says, cannot preview in this file, missing environment object. Okay, so let me click on the button to get more information. And so it says, environment crash due to missing environment of type analytics. And indeed, when we take a look at the code that generates the preview, we can see that nowhere in this code, well, am I injecting an instance of analytics. And this illustrates, well, what is for me the main drawback of using at environment object. And this drawback is that if for any reason we forget to inject a value of type analytics in this case, well, we're going to have a crash at runtime. And the reason behind it is pretty simple, is that when we use environment object, actually what is happening is that, well, SwiftUI is going to take a look inside the environment, try to retrieve a value for the type analytics, and if there is no value, SwiftUI will crash. So basically, it's kind of the same thing than a force unwrap. So it has all the advantage of a force unwrap actually, because well, it makes our code well easier. There is less boilerplate to write. We don't need to deal with all the possible error cases, but at the same time, well, we take the chance of having a crash at runtime if we made a mistake in our code. So like I said, for me, this is the main drawback of using @environment object. And as we're going to see, well, the other property wrapper, so called @environment, is going to allow us, well, to basically don't have this drawback of having an app that can possibly crash. So let's take a look at what is the alternative to using @environment object. So first I'm going to hide the preview because I don't need it right now. So now, well, I don't want to use @environment object anymore, and instead I want to use the @environment property wrapper. And in order to be able to use this other property wrapper, well, we're going to have to write a little bit of boilerplate code. So I'm creating a new file. As you can see, I'm calling it environmentkeys.swift, and inside it, well, I'm going to implement two things. So first thing, I'm going to implement a type called analytics environment keys, which implements the protocol environment key. So as you can see, the implementation of this type is actually quite simple. We have a default value, so it's a constant and it's a static constant. And inside this default value, well, we have an instance of the type analytics. And then I'm going to implement an extension of the type environment value. So this is a SwiftUI type. And as you can see, I am adding a new property on this type. So a complete property called analytics, which is of type analytics. And what I'm doing is that I am defining a getter and a setter. And basically, I am using the environment key that I have implemented, well, just above in order to get the value that is currently injected in the environment and also to be able to inject a new value. So basically, what this is implementing is basically, well, what was done magically by @environment object. But we can see that there is still one key difference, is that this time, well, we had to also define a default value. And now it's time to come back to the type feature1 view and, well, finish implementing the use of @environment, because there is still one piece missing, is that @environment expects as an argument a key path to the property that we are actually referencing from the environment. So I'm going to paste the correct code. So as you can see, I am using a key path to the type analytics. And just to make it clear, so this key path right here, actually, it references that property here that we have defined just a few moments ago. And so now that we have implemented this, well, now our use of the @environment property wrapper is now complete. And so if I run my preview again, you can see that now this time everything is working well, and it makes sense because of course I haven't injected any value inside the environment, but since there is a default value defined as part of the environment keys, well, I cannot have a crash because, well, there is this default value that makes sure that there will always be a value that can be retrieved in the environment for this given key path. So as you can see, using @environment, it's a much, well, we could say, safer approach, because even though we had to define a little bit more of, well, we could say boilerplate code, now we have an interesting guarantee, is that, well, we know that there will always be a value that can be retrieved inside the environment. Once again, because we have this default value. Now, of course, having this default value, well, it doesn't prevent us, for instance, well, to be able to override and inject a new value inside the environment. So, well, in order to do this, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to implement, as you can see, a subclass of analytics. So I'm calling it mock analytics. And now that I have this class, well, what I can do, for instance, here in my preview, I can use the modifier, so environment, and then for the key path analytics, I can say, okay, I want to have this time a mock analytics. And so, well, using this approach of using @environment object, as you can see, we are still able to also provide new values as we go, well, downward inside the view hierarchy. But something that is also super interesting with this approach is that, as you can see, if I go back to my environment key, as you can see, I had a getter and also a setter. And so it means that we have really some very good control on what can be done with this value in the environment. And for instance, well, I can totally comment the setter right here. And if I comment the setter, well, as you can see, I am removing the ability to override the value for analytics because, well, there is just no setter available anymore. So basically, what should you take away from this video? Which property wrapper should you use? Should you use @environment object or @environment? Well, I would say you need to be aware of the advantages and drawback of each of them. So for @environment object, well, the key advantage is that it's super easy to use. You just need to use the property wrapper and inject the value. That's it. You don't need to write any more kind of boilerplate code. But the drawback is that, well, it's actually just a force unwrap under the hood. So if by mistake, well, you forgot to inject a value, you're going to have a crash at runtime. So it can be a problem, and you definitely, well, want to make sure that in your test, you are testing your code in order to make sure that this is not going to happen at runtime. Now, on the other hand, while using at environment, well, you need to write a little bit more of a boilerplate code because you need to implement the environment key, and then you need to write also the extension to environment values. But on the other hand, well, you have more control on what is going to happen because you have, well, the added safety of having a default value, which means that, well, there will always be a value, and so you won't have the bad surprise of having a crash at runtime because you forgot to inject a value. And you also have, well, the added control of being able to say, well, I want maybe to have only a getter and not a setter. And this way, well, you can just inject a dependency, well, inside your app and make sure that no one is able to override it by mistake. So to conclude and to sum up, well, I would say that using at environment object over at environment is kind of like deciding to use force unwrap or not. So basically, if you are already fine with using a force unwrap, which personally I don't recommend, well, you can use at environment object, and basically you will still be running the same risk of having your app that crashes at runtime. But on the other hand, well, if you have forbidden the use of a force unwrap in your app, well, I would argue that you should not be using at environment object, and instead you should be using at environment and make the extra effort, well, of writing the little piece of boilerplate code you have to write, because, well, it will provide you with the same level of added safety than you had when you decided, well, not to use a force unwrap inside your app. Now, of course, that's only my opinion, and actually, if you have another opinion and you have other arguments, well, please let me know in the comment. I would be super curious to know about them. Thank you for watching this video, and see you next time.